Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Are you hearing me?
Good evening, sir.
Hello? Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay.
So, I have a little doubt in yesterday's concept that you had given, the part of delta NG.
Yeah, tell me.
So, like, could you just explain that again?
Full
In
derivation.
brief.
Derivation, are you talking or just
Yeah,
only
yeah,
formula?
that only, sir.
First, we are writing enthalpy change formula. We already derived delta H is equal to delta U plus P into delta V.
Yes, sir.
So here V, delta V means, am I right? V2 minus V1. Yes. Then delta H is equal to delta U plus PV2 minus PV1. We know ideal gas equation PV is equal to nRT. Suppose one reaction is chemical reaction is going on, reactant is converting into product. Suppose reaction is taking place in full gaseous phase. So reactant also gaseous, product also gaseous. Now PV1 is equal to, V1 is initial volume or volume of reactant, and N1 RT. And N1 is number of moles of reactant. Again, PV2 is equal to N2 RT. V2 is the volume of product, and N2 is number of moles of gaseous product. This value is substituting here.
So this is heat capacity, right?
Delta H is equal to delta U plus, instead of PV2 N2
So this is heat
RT,
capacity, right?
instead of PV1 N1 RT.
So, Santosh is asking if it is heat capacity.
What? Heat? Oh, no, it's not heat capacity. Just
Oh.
yesterday we derived that relation only once again we are deriving. So delta H is equal to delta U plus RT taking common. Then N2 minus N1. The delta H is equal to delta U plus N2 minus N1. That indicates N2
Change
is number
in
of
moles.
change in number of moles of gaseous product minus gaseous reactant. So instead of this, we
Yeah,
are writing
sir, I
delta
understood
Ng.
that, but I didn't understand what exactly does this represent. Like, I mean, theoretically, what is it, delta NG?
Delta Ng, that is theoretically number of moles of gaseous product minus number of moles of gaseous reactant, delta Ng.
Okay, that's
Delta
it.
n
So it
means
doesn't
difference
it,
between
it
number of
doesn't
moles.
signify anything else, right?
No. Just it refers, suppose one chemical reaction, N2 plus 3H2 gives rise NH3. All are gaseous phase. Just difference between number of moles of product 2 minus reactant is here 3 moles, here 1 mole. 4 moles total. So minus 2. Delta Ng is here minus 2. We just refers the
Okay.
difference between the number of moles.
Okay, sir, got it.
Then listen, heat capacity.
And so another thing, in the formula we use a delta H equal to delta U plus delta NGRT. So there only R is one constant value, right? Others
Yes,
are
constant.
not constants.
No, remaining are not constant. There's changes.
Okay.
Next, heat capacity. Already written that subheading, just listen.
Temperature is also constant, right?
Temperature also, that is depending upon chemical reaction, the temperature value is changing.
Yeah, like temperature is either given in the question or asked in the question.
In question they are giving temperature, but R value only we are always maintaining, keep constant. In all derivations or in all problems, we are writing same value. Listen, heat capacity, this is denoted with capital C. Heat capacity, it is defined as the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of a system through 1 degree centigrade. Suppose here water is there. Water is the system. Already system is at suppose 27 degrees centigrade. To raise this to 28 degrees centigrade, we must have to supply some amount of heat. That's only we are calling heat capacity. The amount of heat required to raise the temperature of a system through 1 degree centigrade is called heat capacity. However, we are writing the formula C is equal to Q by delta T. Delta T refers temperature difference. Sometimes we may write heat capacity C is equal to dQ by dt. Here dQ dt refers the small amount of heat is supplied to the system to raise the very small amount of temperature change. That refers C is equal to dQ. Even this is also formula. C is equal to Q by, we may write a T2 minus T1 also. This is temperature difference. All are formulas only.
Sir, should we write this?
Yeah, hello?
Sir, should we write this?
No, wait. I will give you later definition. Listen, what is it?
So heat, a small amount of heat required to raise a small amount
of temperature.
Okay.
And specific heat capacity. This is denoted with small c. It is defined as the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of a substance, temperature of 1 gram of substance through 1 degree centigrade. Here we are maintaining particular amount of substance. Specific heat capacity means we are taking only 1 gram of substance, and to increase its temperature through 1 degree centigrade, that's called specific heat capacity. Next one, molar heat capacity. I think you are able to tell this definition. Molar heat capacity.
Sir, through 1 mole.
Very good, 1 mole. This is denoted with I think Cm. The amount of heat required to raise the temperature of a substance, to raise 1 mole of a substance through 1 degree centigrade. It's called molar heat capacity. Okay, first of all, write definition and we'll solve problems. Yeah, having formula Cm is equal to C by N. This is it refers heat capacity divided by number of moles.
Sir, can you repeat the difference between heat capacity and specific heat capacity?
So here we are maintaining some amount of substance, not fixed. Here we are taking specially only 1 gram of substance. Amount of heat required to raise 1 gram of a substance through 1 degree centigrade. 1 gram, 1 degree centigrade, right? But here we are not fixing what is the amount of substance. The amount of heat required to raise the temperature of a system through 1 degree centigrade. Here system having only 1 gram, that is specific heat capacity.
So the formula is same, right?
Yes,
spec-
formula we are maintaining same. Right, definition. The heat capacity of a system is defined as the amount of heat required to rise the temperature of the system through 1 degree centigrade. So this is heat capacity. Formula C is equal to Q by T2 minus T1. So we can modify this as Q by delta T. So another way we can write capacity is equal to small amount of heat supplied to a system dQ divided by small change in the temperature dt. So all are formulas only. Next, the specific heat capacity of a substance is defined as the amount of heat required to rise the temperature of to rise the temperature of 1 gram of a substance. The substance through 1 degree centigrade.
So,
Yeah, tell me.
okay. Isn't it like heat capacity can be increasing any amount, like obviously small amount, but is it necessary to be 1 degree Celsius?
No,
only?
no. It maybe increases much also. Later we are calculating in different way. Just if we divide with how much increase the temperature, we can calculate.
Yeah, so heat capacity can be any temperature and specific
Any
heat
temperature.
is 1 degree, right?
1 degree only.
And then you, in the
Okay.
definition you
Suppose,
wrote through 1 degree Celsius.
Yeah, suppose 25 to 30 degrees centigrade if it is raised. Then we are calculating how much heat is supplied to the system. So in that further we are dividing. Difference is suppose coming 10 degrees. In 10 parts if you do, you can say that how much heat is required to increase only 1 degree here. Practically it's sometimes error also will comes. I mean not error, while calculating you are giving the some amount of heat at 25 degrees centigrade, it will become 28 degrees centigrade, right? So here how much 3 degrees centigrade is increased. So
Yes,
the total, suppose total heat is 100 calories supplied to 25 to 30. Here total increase is 5 degrees. Divided by 5 you do. You will get only 20 calories is required to increase only 1 degree centigrade.
Okay. So we have to find how much is required to get increase 1 centigrade. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
sir, I have a doubt. Sir, once boiling point or melting point is reached, once the boiling point is reached, no, sir, that time latent heat of vaporization is there, no, sir. So temperature won't rise, no, sir.
No, further it won't rise. Once it reaches its boiling point, then it further we can't raise. It's not possible. It changes to state, no?
Then, sir, delta T will be 0, no, sir. Then how is it defined there?
So from which from what temperature onwards you are heating? First initial temperature of the substance is how much?
Sir, considered to be boiling point itself.
At boiling point only. At boiling point only, how we consider? Then heat is required. That supplied heat is converting into vapor. Then we can't calculate. So suppose you are heating from 20 degrees centigrade to 100 degrees centigrade. There we can calculate how much heat is supplied to the system. Then suppose if it changes into vapor, then we don't consider under heat capacity. That is going into another latent heat of vaporization, how much heat is supplied. That's different. Okay. Next, molar heat capacity. So underline this. This is specific heat capacity. Molar heat capacity a system is defined as the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of one mole of the substance through 1 degree centigrade. We can write molar heat capacity is equal to heat capacity by N.
Sir?
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, heat capacity is extensive, right?
Heat capacity. No, heat capacity, specific heat capacity.
Sir, no,
yeah, extensive, correct. It is extensive property.
Yes, sir.
Depends upon
So
amount of
what
substance.
do you mean by extensive property?
There's some properties which depends upon amount of substance.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so suppose if you take small piece of metal, iron metal, just little amount of energy is required to rise 1 degree centigrade. If you take big amount of metal piece, we need to supply a large amount of heat. That's what we can say. It depends upon amount of substance.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now we'll consider one example for calculation of heat capacity, specific heat capacity, and molar heat capacity. Right. Example, a piece of aluminum metal weighing 3 grams requires 5.4 joules of heat. To raise the temperature from 298 Kelvin to 300 Kelvin. Then heat capacity of the piece of aluminum. Heat capacity of the aluminum is equal to, so we can write now Q by delta T. So amount of heat is 5.4 joules. Temperature difference is 2 kelvins. 5.4 divided by 2, and it gives 2.7 joules. This is heat capacity. Joule Kelvin inverse temperature is there.
So here the temperature should be in terms of Kelvin itself, not Celsius.
Yeah, Kelvin inverse only. We are taking a Kelvin. So difference is comes same, but we are writing in Kelvin inverse only, because that is thermodynamic scale. Okay, now tell me what is the specific heat capacity of aluminium? specific heat capacity of aluminium. Very simple. So specific heat is specially for 1 gram. But the given question is for how many grams?
3 grams.
3 grams. For 3 grams.
We can use stoichiometry then.
No, oh yeah. So here for 3 grams, heat capacity is 2.7 joule Kelvin inverse. Then for 1 gram?
0.9.
0.9. 2.7 divided by 3. It gives 0.9 joule Kelvin inverse. Okay, joule gram inverse Kelvin inverse. Next, molar heat capacity. Is equal to so 1 mole of aluminum is equal to 27 grams. Yeah, 1 mole of aluminum for 1 gram only 0.9 joule gram inverse Kelvin inverse. For 27 grams into 0.9 into, if you multiply with 27, we get answer. So in molar mass of aluminum is equal to 27 grams. So that into multiplying with this value, we get answer. Calculate this 290,270. 243, 24.3 joule mole inverse Kelvin inverse.
So can you explain the last step once more?
See, specific heat capacity is we calculated 0.9. So that is for 1 gram of aluminum. But we want for molar heat capacity. Means how much heat we need to supply for 1 mole of aluminum. So 1 mole of aluminum mass is 27 grams. Right? That 27 we are multiplying with this value.
Yes, I got it.
Okay, so one problem I will give, this is related to heat capacity and molar heat capacity. Calculate. Problem is calculate number of kilojoules of heat necessary to rise the temperature of 60 grams of aluminum from 35 degrees centigrade to 55 degrees centigrade. Molar heat capacity of aluminum is molar heat capacity of aluminum is 24 joule mole inverse Kelvin inverse.
So is it 66 grams?
60 grams, 60. Only 60. Sorry. 60 grams. So I gave you one formula. Molar heat capacity is equal to C by N. Apply that formula. But that is formula for only for 1 degree centigrade rise. You have to multiply with the difference of temperature 20 degrees centigrade. Then you get answer. Yeah, what is the answer?
Sir, 0.533 kilojoules.
No, wrong. So you have to get answer 1.07 kilojoule. Formula is molar heat capacity Cm is equal to heat capacity C by N. N is number of moles. So we want heat capacity, no? Yeah. Heat capacity.
Okay, yes, sir. I did a mistake, sir. I took 10 degrees Celsius. I need to take
20. So we multiply
Yes,
N into Cm into, but temperature difference we have to take, ma. Here instead of C, we need to write, so again C we have to substitute. C is equal to, we know, Q by delta T. Yeah, but we want amount of heat. Kilojoules of heat is necessary. So not heat capacity. They are asking heat. So instead of C, we may write Q by delta T is equal to N into Cm. So now required heat. Q is equal to N into Cm into delta T. Calculate N, number of moles. Given mass of aluminum is 60 grams. 60 divided by number of moles of, molar mass of aluminum is 27 into given molar heat capacity 24 into delta T 55 minus 35. 2.2 into 24 into 20. Answer comes 1.066 will come. So we may write as 1.07 kilojoule per mole. Kilojoules, only heat, no? 1.07 kilojoules. Okay, next. Types of heat capacities are molar heat capacities.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, it is coming 105.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me, Akshaya.
Sir, can you hear me?
So your voice breaking.
I'll read.
Your voice is not clear. All right. Types of heat capacities are molar heat capacity. Okay, we know heat is path function. Heat or heat capacity there comes under path functions. So this heat capacity we can calculate by two ways. One is by keeping system of a volume constant, and we can call that is a heat capacity at constant volume, and by keeping pressure of a system keeping constant and then calculating heat capacity. That's we can say heat capacity at constant pressure. So now two types: heat capacity at constant volume. Don't write one, listen later. You may write heat capacity at constant volume.
Sir?
Yes?
Sir, we are going to use delta H is equal to delta U plus delta A.
Yeah, we are using that formulas, yes, for derivation.
Yes, sir.
Heat capacity at constant volume is we are denoting with CV, and another one heat capacity at constant volume we are writing, sorry, constant pressure we are keeping CP. Okay, definition, okay, no need, already we know that. So du is equal to 1 minute delta H is equal to delta U plus P into delta V. So instead of delta H we may write now Q delta U plus P into delta V. Okay, we can write. See, while giving the definition of heat capacity, I gave you one formula. Heat capacity C is equal to dQ by dt. Remember?
Sir, you will be integrating this.
We don't know. No. We don't do integration. Just we are doing a differentiation. So here delta Q means dQ only. Here, small amount of heat absorbed by a system is dQ, and the small change in the temperature is dt. First, while giving the definition of heat capacity, I gave this formula. So from this, we may write now dQ is equal to C into delta T. So here I'm writing C into delta T. So this is du, we may write delta U or P into delta V and dV. Okay, now C is equal to delta U plus P into delta V by.
So do we write this?
No, not now. Later I will give notes. dt. Now at constant volume. At constant volume, delta V becomes 0. So instead of delta, we can write d also. CV is equal to du by dt. See, first of all, listen, what is heat capacity at constant volume? Heat absorbed by the system at a constant volume to raise the temperature of a system through 1 degree centigrade. That's called heat capacity at constant volume. Heat absorbed by the system at constant volume to increase the temperature of a system through 1 degree centigrade. That's heat capacity at constant volume. We can define another way. Heat capacity at constant volume is change in internal energy of a system with a change of temperature. That's also called.
So will these derivations be asked?
Derivation, very less chance to ask, but these formulas are much useful to derive another derivation. We have one derivation, Cp minus Cv is equal to R. Very, very important. Very simple also. Very simple. Frequently asking for 2 marks. This is very, very important. Now I will derive that also. Now we got Cv is equal to du by dt. Okay, next. From the same formula, okay, for your convenience, I'm writing here instead of delta U, I'm giving delta du. This is also du. Here, suppose the process system is absorbed the heat at constant pressure. Then how to modify this? Delta H is equal to du. This formula, dq is equal to du plus P into dV. Instead of dq, we will write C into delta T, sorry, dt. du plus P into dV. C is equal to du plus P into dV divided by dt. Now at constant pressure, Cp is equal to du by dt is at constant wall pressure plus P into dV by dt. This is also at constant pressure only. So here we derived Cv is equal to du by dt. Continuation. We know formula H is equal to U plus PV. Enthalpy, system enthalpy, already we derived this also. Suppose if we do differentiation with respect to temperature, we may write now this is dH by dt is equal to du by dt at constant pressure. This we have to do at constant pressure. This equation is differentiated with respect to temperature at constant pressure. Constant pressure and P into dV by dt at constant pressure. Look this equation and this equation. Du by dt at constant pressure plus P into dV by dt at constant pressure. Same here, du by dt plus P into dV by dt.
Yes, sir.
So now instead of this term, we may write dH by dt constant pressure is equal to Cp. So here we derived Cv is equal to du by dt constant volume. This is the formula. And here we derived Cp is equal to dH by dt at constant pressure. So here we may define the heat capacity at constant pressure may be defined as the rate of change of enthalpy with the temperature at constant pressure. So the rate of change of enthalpy at constant with respect to temperature at constant pressure. This is heat capacity at constant volume. We may define as the rate of change of internal energy of a system with respect to temperature at constant volume. That's all. That's the derivation. But this is much useful to derive further. It's Cp minus Cv is equal to R. This is asking in exam. Okay, anyhow, write this one.
Sir,
yeah, tell me.
Sir, that R is the constant, right?
Where R? Oh, this is constant. R value, we know, no, that is 8.314
Yes,
joule kilometer.
yes,
That's
sir.
value only. Otherwise, simply we can write 2 calories.
So this derivation is not there in the textbook, or is it there?
Maybe textbook not giving that. Just they are giving directly Cp minus Cv derivation only giving. Anybody have textbook right now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
Yes,
see
sir.
once is there derivation by of Cp by Cv is equal to gamma?
No, sir.
No, sir.
This relation is there or not? Check.
No, sir.
This
No, sir. We just have Cp minus Cv equals R.
R.
Okay, it's fine.
Capital R.
This is not there. Maybe only giving in advanced level. No need. I think it will comes in physics thermodynamics. Cp by Cv is equal to gamma.
So there's a formula which says heat that is Q equals coefficient into delta T. Coefficient is same as heat capacity, right?
What coefficient?
They have said that Q equals coefficient into delta T.
Yeah, heat capacity then. Q is equal to delta T. Here coefficient is given. This is only heat capacity.
Coefficient is delta is the heat capacity.
Heat capacity, yes. Right. Since Q is path function, So heat capacity. Also path function. To know the value of C, to know the value of C, the conditions such as constant volume or constant pressure. Have to be specified with define the path. Thus, there are two types of heat capacities.
Sir?
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, what is after specified?
Specified only. That next further, which define at the path.
Okay, sir.
So first one, heat capacity at constant volume. It's denoted by CV. Second one, heat capacity at constant pressure.
Sir, I didn't understand the line you wrote after constant pressure.
Constant volume or constant pressure. How to specify which defines the path.
Which defines the path.
Yeah, which define the path.
After have to specify it's full stop, sir, or continuation?
No, continuation.
So then which should be with, no, sir?
Yeah, constant pressure have to be specified. Which define at the path, not with which. So to determine the path of a system, we need to keep either volume or pressure of a system constant. So that which define at the path means either pressure or volume. Heat capacity at constant pressure is denoting with CP. So here,
So what do you mean by definite the path?
So already heat is a path function, right?
Yes, sir.
So that path is determined by keeping either any one of the factor constant, either volume or pressure. So by keeping system volume constant, we can determine what is the path of a system. Means heat capacity is path function. To determine that path, we need to keep either pressure constant or volume constant.
Okay, yeah, sir, I got it.
Right here, we are defining the both. Heat supplied to a system, the heat to a system to raise the temperature through through 1 degree centigrade, keeping the volume of the system constant. Is called heat capacity at constant volume. Heat capacity at constant volume. Similarly, the heat supplied to a system to raise its temperature through 1 degree centigrade, keeping the external pressure constant. Keeping the external pressure constant. Is called heat capacity at constant pressure. Yeah. Completed the statement also.
Yes, sir.
So just 1 minute.
Yes, sir, done.
So could you just read out the last line once? Keeping the external pressure constant.
Constant is called heat capacity at constant pressure. Now, write derivation. According to first law of thermodynamics. dq is equal to du plus p into dv. Since c is equal to dq by dt, dq is equal to c into dt. So instead of dq, now we may write c into dt. When the volume is kept constant, dv becomes 0. So now we can write c suffix v is equal to du plus dt at constant volume. This is one formula.
Sir?
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, P dV by dt can be written as NR.
dv by dt?
Sir, P dV by dt can be written as NR.
NR? No, how we can
Yes,
write?
sir.
NRT, we want at constant volume. Volume
Sir, no,
becomes
sir,
0.
without constant volume, without constant volume.
Then it will be changes. No, it is, this formula is not accepted. If you don't keep constant
sir.
volume constant, it won't come.
Okay, sir.
So here defining heat capacity another way. The heat capacity at constant volume.
So why can't we write delta instead of d?
No, we can write that is change in rate of change in internal energy, or we can write change in internal energy. Accepted delta u du, or sometimes writing dou u also. Okay. dou u. This is a partial differentiation. This is normal differentiation. It's complete in mathematics differentiation.
Yes, sir. Differentiation is
Yes.
important.
Okay, so no problem here. If you write du or dou u accepted, dou u we are writing for normal gases. No, sorry, du we are writing for ideal gases. The heat capacity at constant volume may be defined as the rate of change of internal energy with respect to with temperature at constant volume. So this is right as a equation 1. Next. Next, when the pressure is kept constant, during the absorption of heat, equation 1 becomes Cp is equal to du by dt plus P into dV by dt. So we know heat content H is equal to U plus PV. Differentiating with respect to T, constant pressure we get.
So isn't it delta H equal to U plus PV?
Yeah, delta H is equal to delta U plus P into delta V. Just H is equal to U plus PV.
Oh, okay.
So dH by dt, constant pressure is equal to du by dt, constant pressure, plus P into dV by dt. So this gives us equation 2, this is equation 3. From equation 2 and 3. So we may write Cp is equal to, so instead of this term, we may write dH by dt. So after giving this formula, right downside, the heat capacity at constant pressure may be defined as plus okay. The rate of change of enthalpy with temperature with constant pressure. Constant pressure. So here we derive now Cv is equal to du by dt at constant volume, and Cp is equal to dH by dt at constant pressure. So sometimes we may denote with Cv bar, Cp bar also. This is formula for 1 mole of gaseous substance. Suppose if there is a n moles of substance, then we are writing for n moles. Cv is equal to n into Cv bar, or Cp is equal to n into Cp bar. So we may write this. I think no need that one, just mind that point. So here we derived those formulas. We may keep Cp bar, Cv bar also, and that is represents for 1 mole of gaseous substance. Next,
So why have you written Cv bar and Cp bar?
No, that is just a denoting. It is based on direction also. I think you know why we are keeping bar. It is a vector quantity,
that's
right?
like acting as vector.
And it means to differentiate also. I mean, for 1 mole of substance, for n mole of substance also, we are just differentiating with bar, keeping line. Okay, next, very, very important relationship between, tell me.
For n moles, it's NCV and NCP, sir.
For n moles. See, we derived this Cp bar, Cv bar, right? This value. And if you want for n moles, just we are writing Cv is equal to NCV bar, Cp is equal to NCP bar. That is for n number of moles. Okay, next, put subheading relationship between Cp and Cv. It's very, very important. So suppose if in any competitive examination, if they give Cv bar, then don't you confuse. That is just Cp, Cv one. Relationship between Cp and Cv. Okay, here first a small concept is there. Carefully listen that. Don't write. Listen first. Here I'm taking the system, volume of a system keeping constant. Here I'm taking another system. Here external pressure of a system keeping constant. So here volume constant. Here pressure constant. External pressure. Now here we are studying heat capacity. See, inside some gas is there. But volume of a system we are keeping constant. And heat is supplied to the system. So if we supply heat to the system, here piston is not moving because we kept the volume of a system constant. This heat is useful, first of all, to increase the internal energy of a system, right? If we supply some amount of heat to the system, internal energy of a system is increases. At the same time, temperature of a system also increases. Here we will take temperature of a system to increase 1 degree centigrade. To increase temperature of a system 1 degree centigrade, we are supplying some amount of heat, right? This is Cv, no? We are keeping volume constant.
Yes, sir.
And that heat is, the supplied heat is only useful to increase internal energy of a system, and temperature also maintains, because 1 degree centigrade temperature also increased. Now here also gas is there. Some amount of heat is supplied to the system. Then here what happens? If you supply the heat, that heat is utilized by the system, and the external pressure we kept constant. That's why the piston is moving up. The absorbed heat by the gas, that is useful to do some work. At the same time, that heat is useful to increase the internal energy of a system, and also temperature of a system is increases for 1 degree centigrade.
So can you explain that system where pressure is constant again?
Yeah, listen. Here heat is supplied to the system. That heat is useful to increase the internal energy of a system and to increase the temperature of a system. First of all, temperature of a system increases, then automatically internal energy of a system increases. Then here we kept pressure constant. No, that's what volume of a system also increases. We are supplying heat. The gas undergoes expansion. Then piston also moving upside. So some work also done here. in this case. So now tell me, here also we are increasing 1 degree centigrade temperature rise. In which condition we need to supply more amount of heat? In which condition we need to supply more amount of heat?
Sir, second one.
Okay, anybody? Ananya.
Sir, is it first one? Constant volume.
Keshav.
Sir, can you repeat the question? I was not able to hear for some time.
Listen, guys. One second, I'm explaining. Here, the supplied heat is only useful to increase the temperature of a system. Temperature of a system means we need to increase just 1 degree centigrade rise only. And that heat here, piston is not allowed to expand. I mean, move upside, because volume is system of a volume is constant. So supplied heat only useful to increase the temperature of a system and internal energy of a system. Here,
so the pressure won't change in the first ones.
First one, yeah, pressure changes. So what? Volume are kept constant, no?
So
no work is done here.
In the first system, if the temperature increases, obviously the volume will also increase, no?
That's what only here we are volume of a system keeping constant. No, we are not allowing to move piston upside or downside. Fix it that piston. See, if you take in pressure,
yeah. Then pressure becomes more. Got it.
So, but in constant pressure also the piston isn't moved up or down, right?
Yeah, here moves constant pressure. We are maintaining external pressure constant. Then here piston is moving up because gas is expanding. Where heat is supplying, no? Obviously, piston is moving upside.
So there's zero external pressure where the pressure is constant.
No, not zero external. We are maintaining some pressure, right? 1 atmosphere, 2 atmosphere, not zero. If you keep zero, then work done will become zero. That's not allowed. We are maintaining some amount of pressure. Okay, anyhow, here we are supplying the heat for the purpose of to increase 1 degree centigrade rise of temperature of a gas. That is the purpose. We need to increase 1 degree centigrade rise of temperature of this gas. But we are kept pressure constant. The supplied heat is useful to increase internal energy of a system and to increase the temperature of a system. At the same time, here we kept pressure constant, work also done by the system. So in which case we have to supply more amount of heat?
So second one.
Second case only correct. Here only we need to supply more amount of heat. You are supplying to increase the temperature of a system, but there's some amount of heat is useful to do work. No, that's what here we need to supply more amount of heat. So this is CV, this is CP. Now which is bigger value always?
CP.
Always
CP, sir.
But I'm taking CP minus CV. Always bigger value. Okay, CP greater than CV. Now I'm taking the difference between the two heat capacities. CP minus CV is equal to CP formula already we derived. dH by dt at constant pressure minus CV is du by dt at constant volume. Now we know this formula. H is equal to U plus PV. And H is equal to U plus, we know PV is equal to nRT for n moles. For 1 mole, we may write PV is equal to RT. Now instead of write PV RT. Now differentiate on both sides with the T, with the temperature. So dH by dt is equal to du by dt plus R into dt by t, 1 only, no? So we don't need to just keep here R. This is comes 1, dt by dt 1 only. So now dH by dt minus du by dt is equal to R. Look this and this. dH by dt minus du by dt. Instead of this, may I write Cp minus Cv is equal to R. This is only final derivation. Here dH by dt minus du by dt came. Same terms we got here also. dH by dt minus du by dt equal to R. This equation equated. Cp minus Cv is equal to comes R. This is only derivation. So very small derivation this is, but having 2 marks, sometimes asking 3 marks also. Suppose this comes for 3 marks,
Sir?
you need to explain here Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I have a doubt. Cp minus Cv, like consider real gas at very high temperature. Then it will act ideal, no sir?
Cp minus Cv if we consider for ideal gas?
No sir, real gas at very high temperature.
Then it at very high temperature real gas behaves
Yes,
like
sir.
ideal, no? So
Yes,
it is
sir.
accepted. It is accepted.
So that's how they found R, no sir?
Yeah, practically that's found by at high temperature only. At low temperature, they are showing much deviations.
Sir,
So
we have to
in this
write
case,
this.
we can't equate this. PV is equal to RT. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, are we supposed to write the whole thing? Hello?
Yeah, tell me, Keshav.
Sir, are we supposed to write everything now what you have written in the board?
No. I will give later. I will give you notes. I think we don't have time now.
Yes.
Yeah, almost 7. So in next class, I will give notes. So what I'm telling, if it is asked for 2 marks, just write derivation here. So just we know Cp greater than Cv, then take difference, then give derivation. Suppose if it is asking for 3 marks, here then you need to write, I will give you 4 or 5 lines about this. Then give derivation.
We don't need to prove that Cp is greater than Cv, right?
Why? Oh, no, that's no need proof. If it is asked, that's what I'm telling. If it is asking for 2 marks, just write derivation. Only this from this point onwards. I will give you further 1 or 2 lines here. But if they ask for 3 marks, here you have to draw a diagram and you need to explain 2 points why Cp is greater than Cv. Then here further you need to give derivation. Okay, about this I will give you in Monday class. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Akshaya and Vaishnavi. Hello? Akshaya and Vaishnavi.
Yes, sir.
Did you join late? Hello?
What, sir?
Today's class, did you join late or by in time?
In time.
In time only? Okay.
There's a power cut over here.
Okay, due to power cut. Okay. Okay, you can leave class.